Welcome to Decades, hosted by Chris Rubio. Decades is a show made up of 5 generations of people brought together to discuss topics you wouldn't normally talk about with others. The goal of the show is to learn by having some good, possibly heated discussions, without losing the simple fact that it's okay to talk to different people with different opinions other than your own.
Welcome to Season 2, Episode 4 of Decades. We are live right now on YouTube, LinkedIn, the NGBN.TV network, and of course, Facebook. If you want to follow along, spread the word, do whatever you want. We're going to have Sub 60 Ed, the fantastic producer of Decades. He's going to be making sure everyone gets to see every single thing. Let me bring out Sub 60 Ed. Ed, get out of here. Let me tell them, you and them what the show is all about. For those that don't know, if this is your first time watching, Decades is a show where we get someone from their 60s, 50s, 40s, 30s, and 20s, and we talk about things that normally you wouldn't talk about. Some will be funny, some will be a little bit more serious. Today's show, we're going to go over 4 topics, and there's going to be 2 that are funny and 2 that are going to make you kind of squirm a little bit. Sub 60 Ed, what's going on? Her name is Chastity, says, hey, guys.
Hey there, Rubio. Got some people already coming in, some of our
what up, Gee?
Friends and family. Gee's coming in. Hey, before we get started, I want to give out a shout out to our buddy, the host of The Bear Essentials and author of The Sentinel Justice, the Chronicles of Duncan Wallace, Charles Wallace. Just shout out to you, brother. Great book. Started reading it. If you get a chance, pick it up. And that's a non-paid promotion. You're welcome, Charles.
All right, let's start with the panel. Let's start with our 60s. We've got Bill Geiser. He lives in Florida. He's got tremendous fashion sense. He's an entrepreneur, a wearable tech guru, a phenomenal swimmer, and like I said, he's right in Florida. What is up, Bill Geiser? 'Tis the season, my man.
'Tis the season, and how about them Cowboys?
And we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Next, in our 50s, originally from Ukraine, grew up in the USSR, lives in Los Angeles, is a beer connoisseur, and heads up the Charlie Sheen fan club. Give it up for Alex Chris.
Greetings from California, Winterland.
All right. Check is in the mail from Chalice Sr. for his little promo. Next, also in the 50, we've got Jim Scarano. Jim is from Ocean City, New Jersey. He's an avid outdoorsman, father of 2, and a public educator that deserves to be paid more. I know that for a fact. Jim, what is up?
Thank you, Rubio. Good to be here. Happy Tuesday and happy holidays to everybody out there.
Absolutely. Next up, we've got the smoothest man, the host of AC Sports Live that'll be going on tonight, 9 p.m. Pacific time. His name is Anthony Cobbs. He lives in LA. He's a teacher, coach, host, and he's a very, very smooth operator. Give it up for AC.
I don't know how smooth I can really be, but I'll try my best.
I can see you already gargled with caramel early today. Yeah. Next up, we've got bat killer Jenna Gange. She's 30s, lives in Canada, CrossFit competitor. Heaviest deadlift is 315, which is ridiculous. And like I said, one time she killed a bat with a steak knife in her house. What is up, Jenna Gange?
Hey, everybody. How are you?
Education, nice, me too, Facebook user, fantastic. And last but not least, we've got Charles Wallace Jr. We call him Chalice. He's in his 20s, 2-time wiffle ball champion. Right now, he hosts From Gridiron to Goalpost. He loves any team that's winning for him. And right now, with his new look, he kind of looks like the band in the 80s, Hall & Oates, kind of bred together to create one human being. What's up, Chalice?
They did, actually. No one's supposed to know that, but that's actually how I came to be.
All right, real quick, before we get going on this, the whole NGBN network is about saving men's lives. And this past couple days, Jenna had a former worker of hers at Netflix named Jason Bartling. He succumbed to suicide. He was in his early 40s and laid off due to the writer strike. Relationship issues and financial challenges became too much for him to carry. Guys, girls, if you're out there, please call someone. Call anyone. You can call us. We'll give you our phone number. You can email rubio@therubiomethod.com. You can also email ngbntved@gmail.com. Someone is always available to talk to you. I promise you that. Do not make any rash decisions. Make sure you call one of us. We will be there for you, all right? Okay, so let's move on. Let's jump out of the gate pretty darn hot. Is college worth it now? All right. As you guys know, I'm a private football instructor, and I hear a lot of kids going to college, and they're telling me horror stories or happy stories and things like that. And now it's become, and we're going to get to the whole MIT Harvard thing. That's a different topic, so don't bring that up yet. But is college even worth it right now? AC? Since you went to the great UCLA, you want me to take it? I'll take it right out of the gate. I have an opinion on this, but I'm supposed to hold my opinion.
Well, if I have to go first, it really depends on the kid.
Okay.
I mean, it really depends on the kid and what he's interested in or she's interested in. It's the industry. Some industries, most industries these days, if you have the knowledge and the skill, you don't need college. So it really depends on what you determine is success, what your happiness is based on. So in education, I teach college and career. So I have to preach both. So it depends. It really does depend.
Okay. Chalice, not unless you want to be 100%. I think that's what they said. Sub 68 cut it off too quick. Not unless you would want to be 100%. I don't know what that means. Chalice, go ahead. What is your thoughts?
I don't think so. I don't think it's necessary unless you're going into a very specific field, like you want to be a doctor or a lawyer or something of that nature. But if that's not what you're looking to do, there's so many avenues that you can make a life for yourself these days without taking out all those loans or, going to an institution like I did. I went to an institution where I just was it felt like I was, an outcast in the school I was paying money to go to. They were always the professors were always preaching at me about, how I do this wrong and I do that wrong. And they don't know me. They don't know my story, but they know what I look like. And that's a problem in modern college.
Yeah, 100%. And then he brings up the whole student loan thing, because I've had friends that, yes, their kids went to college, and then I've had other friends that, no, they went to electrical school. And when the whole loan issue came out, I thought it was asinine that when my one buddy's kid who's going to electrical school, why would he have to pay off student loans of someone else? Then if they should have to pay off his loans for his van or his truck or his tools, that didn't make sense to me at all. For my daughter, it was not. She is thriving. For my son, who will long snap next year as a freshman, yes, his degree dictates it is. Sammy Owen, yeah. So, yeah, that goes back to AC's take of, if you're an athlete, you're obviously going to need to go that route if you want to play at that next level. You have to be associated with the college. Jenna, you're nodding along. What's your thoughts on this?
No, I don't think it's worth it. It wasn't worth it when I went. I took human justice and went in to work for CBSA, the Canadian Border Services. And no, to me, it's all about experience. So find what you like. And if you don't know, then try the odd job here or there and stick with it and work your way through.
Okay, then Jenna, well, what about the argument of, well, you got to go to college to get the experiences? What about that argument where someone says, well, you don't know anything because you're just staying in your little bubble. You need to go to UCLA where there's 40,000 people and no one looks like you, talks like you, and then you get to, I've had some of my wildest discussions at UCLA.
No, you get the education. I don't think you get the experience. Totally different. You go on the job to get the experience. You live
okay. I'm thinking of experience different ways. I'm thinking of just meeting someone from Long Beach, talking about Mr. Jesus, talking about this spaghetti recipe, doing whatever. Sub 68, you got your hand up.
Spaghetti recipe. Yeah, just real quick. I think it's really up to the person. I don't think college is now for everybody. I know I come from a day and age where your choice was you were going to high school, you were going to college, and maybe a master's and maybe a graduate program. Now it's a little different. And my kids are two examples. Both my kids did not go to college, but are both out successfully working in two different career fields, doing their thing. One is actually living out there on their own. So I think it really needs to be, I think one of the Facebook users was saying even, if you really know what you want, or you're in one of the medical, lawyer, or so on, I think that's where you would have to go to school.
Well, 100%. If you're going for like a social degree and you're not sure what you're going to do, dude, you're burning a lot of cash right there. Jim, you're the educator of the group, besides AC and myself, of course.
I always hate to I don't hate to piggyback AC, but we seem to align on our thoughts. I think it's very difficult. When I was 18, 19 years old, I had no idea what I wanted to do, but you went to college. That's what you did because you needed the degree, or society kind of told you needed the degree. Unfortunately, I didn't do anything with I shouldn't say I didn't do anything with my first degree, but I did not continue to pursue the career that would have led out of, my major. And I kind of went back to school again and then went back to school again. It's an extreme amount of money. I've seen people bury themselves in student debt that they have very difficult time pulling themselves out of. Both my children have made the decision to go to college, and Adam probably going to have to hitch up for a loan at some point, and I would appreciate that. No, so it really just depends. Like I think if you're hyper focused, you know exactly what you want to do. You know, you want to go to MIT because you already know that you have a career plan, and that's one thing. Or like you said, a doctor or a lawyer. Mm-hmm. But if you're just going for the sake of going, it's not worth it. And those degrees are watered down. I mean,
100%.
It's bad.
Well, I think I agree. It all depends on the person and also what kind of, profession or occupation somebody's studying. I did go to college back in the day in Ukraine or Soviet Union, whatever it was at the time, to become a software engineer, a programmer. And I'm glad I did, okay? Although, I mean, after high school, I didn't know what to do. I just kind of, my mom, she kind of asked around and, I picked that kind of major and went. And, I have no regrets. But I think some other things, like if somebody just has some kind of general education, like some kind of studies that basically you spend all this time, all this money, and then you don't get any real degree stuff to make money and need to pay your, student loan back.
But the problem is now as well, because I speak to a lot of kids that are traveling all over the country, and the schools have gone, quote unquote, so woke that I would say probably 50% of the kids that I talk to, if they are answering essay or test questions the way they want, they know they will fail. Like even if they can prove themselves. So they have to answer it the way that the professor wants it, or they can get an A that way. So like, oh, I believe this about BLM. And I can prove my point, but the professor thinks this. You got to write this. I know several of my long steppers that have literally just throughout 4 years have wrote whatever they think the exact opposite, and they have straight A's. Now in my opinion, that's not a good thing, man. Bill Geiser, what are your thoughts on that?
So the question is college worth it now? And I think we go through kind of these big swings of the pendulum. And that pendulum doesn't swing on a yearly basis. I think it swings over decades. And right now, college has deservedly gotten itself kind of a bad rap. I think we've sort of jumped the shark. At one end of the spectrum, you've got people of wealth buying Billy and Johnny's way into college because they can't make it on their own, because it's a status play. And I'm talking about like some of those well-publicized Hollywood stars who got caught feeding a bunch of cash to universities to get their kids in there. That's wrong. I think it's like anything else. It's what do you do with that college education? It's up to the individual. It's not just because you have a college degree, you're not entitled to anything more than anybody else who may or may not have a college degree. So I think it really depends on that individual. If it's going to help you, if it's going to broaden your horizons, your social abilities, your critical thinking skills, by all means, go do it. But you have to apply that over time after you graduate to make it worth it.
Jimmy, had your finger up?
Yeah, I just think we also get away from encouraging kids to get into trades. I think there's great opportunities in a lot of our trades, and I think there could be a little bit more emphasis on, encouraging that, or at least exposing them to some of the different areas that they can go into besides just, an undergraduate degree.
I mean, that's the thing that
there's a lot of money in trades.
Yeah. Jesus. AC, Jesus. One of the things that right now I'm adamant, if my kids are not playing sports in college, or they're not going for a very, very specific degree like veterinary science or something like that, or a lawyer, I would tell them, go to a trade. Go, you want to learn how to do something, follow this person, be an intern, do what you got to do. On the other hand, part of me says, you know what? If I didn't go to college, AC and I would not be on the same show right now. Okay, so it's the getting to meet other people. You know, obviously sports played a huge role in that, obviously. But the fact of the matter is, if you stay at home or say you go do something and you're in just your little tiny bubble of electricians, you don't get to see AC and listen to him talk about Cactus Cooler as he's barbecuing. Okay, it's one of those
AC
things.
worth 120 grand? I don't know.
Well,
He's a pretty nice guy.
well, I just think a lot of times it's necessary to change your socioeconomic position in this country. As a young African American Black man myself, I was not respected until they heard UCLA. In a lot of areas I went, especially in education, when they hear UCLA, their ears perk up. It's no longer just a guy who has a few skills. It's a guy who went to school and made himself, he fit in. He kicked down the door of a stereotype. Like I had counselors telling me, don't go to college. You don't need to. Find yourself a trade. And I was like, well, I kind of want to go to college because I want to change this dynamic of my family. Everyone's just going to work after high school. I want to do something more professional. So it kind of evens the playing field. It's a very expensive playing field. But as a scholarship football player, I was blessed to not have to pay for my undergrad. I did pay for my master's degree, but it was great to not have that, undergrad bill in the mail. So, it does change the way people look at you. So if you want an elevation in prestige and respect, it can do that as well.
I love it. Speaking of professionalism, Sub 60 Ed, I hear Gru's got a fantastic new commercial. Could you take it to it right now?
You have been watching Decades, a show on the NGBN.TV network.
This texting hack is brought to you by Alex on Tech. When you are at the end of a sentence, all you have to do is tap the space bar twice for a full stop. It will insert a period and automatically capitalize the following letter.
Welcome back to Decades. Take it away, Rubio.
Gru, I want a better tip than that next time. That was a basic one. Everyone knows that one, man. That's like third grade level. I want like at least 8.
I didn't know that.
See? Not everybody knows.
Raise your hand if you knew that.
I don't like that one. Sometimes I don't want a period.
Everyone knows. Gru, I want a better one.
Or more than one
next
period.
Time. Sure.
All right, let's fluff it up here. Let's fluff it up. And I know we have a big fan here. Number 2, Taylor Swift is Times Person of the Year. Warranted or not, Jenna?
I love Taylor Swift. I really, really, really do. But I don't think she deserves that title.
Okay, so my immediate question to you is, who else? Because I can only think of one other person, but I know they would never pick him.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. I wouldn't name a president. I have no
Well,
idea.
God, no. Bill Geiser.
No.
T. Swizzle. She deserve it or not?
You know what? I'm not a big Taylor Swift fan, but she's remarkably successful, so why not? I'm okay with it.
She writes her own music. She's got I think 3 #1 albums this year alone, which is absurd. How much money has she brought into?
I think she
NFL
added
football?
she added something significant to the U.S. gross national product.
Oh,
So
I wouldn't doubt it.
This gal is an economic whirlwind. Good for her. She's a very powerful force of.
The only person I could see that should got it, but they would never ever pick him, would be Elon Musk, for what he did with Twitter and all that stuff. But they would never choose him. AC, what are your thoughts on this? I got you, Jim. Right after.
What has she done for people? Like I don't know exactly I know she's boosted ratings in football because she's bumped my Eagles for the Chiefs because her boyfriend,
Welcome.
whatever.
She's got that jersey with two.
I would
Thank
think
you.
if I lived in the city of Boulder, Colorado, I would say Deion Sanders, but I don't, so I don't really have a vote.
But didn't he get Sportsman of the Year for Sports Illustrated or ESPN or one of those?
Something like that. But what have they done for people that are less fortunate is probably what I would ask. I don't know.
That's what I was thinking too.
Jim?
Well, that's where my mind went when I heard the question was how philanthropic or what's her charitable donations. And I did read a little bit, but also the Time Person of the Year is supposed to be who most affected the news and our lives.
Well,
And,
she affected the
I
news.
think she certainly had a fairly large effect on not necessarily on my life, but certainly on the news. And everywhere you turn, it's her face or her on the video, her in the box at the Eagles game or whatever. And she does seem to be fairly philanthropic, but she also has $4 or $5 billion. So I would hope that she would be giving some of it away. You know.
Yeah, that Sammy Owen just said Musk reestablish free speech, and yeah, well, that's 100% true. Jenna, go ahead.
She kind of had an effect on my life because I was pissed off. I couldn't go to her concert. The tickets cost so much.
Yeah, my wife wanted to go see them as well, and like cheap tickets were like $2,000. Go ahead, Chalice.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to see how this affects your betting life.
You know, it doesn't. Here's the thing. If you know anything about me, you know that due to my addiction to small blonde women, I had to pretend to like Taylor Swift for a few years, but then I started to listen to her music and actually grew to like her music. So I'm all in on her being Time Person of the Year. Only person I can think of that they could have given it to who would have been more deserving would have been the host of From Gridiron to Goalposts. But I understand if they don't want to do that, I'm fine with who they gave it to.
In 2002, was it 2006? He just wrote up that Google was the person of the year.
No, he said he was.
He was. He said
Google it. He said Google it.
He said,
Oh,
Time
because they made everybody. That was the year they made everybody person of the year. Classic Gee with a curveball right there.
Good old Gee.
Go ahead, Sub 60.
Hey, I'm still trying to figure out why they haven't made you a person of the year yet.
Hold on. You look like Phantom of the Opera. Move to your left. Here.
Yes. How about like this?
It's
There you go,
Two-Face from
Daddy.
Batman.
Yeah, you're Batman,
I'm
Phantom of the Opera.
Still trying to figure out why they haven't made you. Man,
I agree.
Another year gone.
I agree with you 1,000%.
Maybe it's the sweatshirt. It's too bright.
I know. I got the new neon yellow. It looks nice.
Just saying.
All right, let's jump topics because that one was quick and I knew it would be. AC, I'm going to steal a little bit of your thunder because I'm assuming you're going to talk about this on AC Sports Live at 9 p.m. Shohei Ohtani signed a 7-year, $700 million contract with the Dodgers. But this is yesterday. And he just announced today that he's actually splitting it. The first 10 years, he's only getting $2 million per year. So he'll only make, $20 million over the first 10 years. And then from year 11 through 20, he's going to make $680 million. So from years 11 through 20, he'll make $68 million a year. He most likely won't even be playing. It'll be the Barry Bonilla effect. Yeah. Right?
Bobby Bonilla.
Bobby Bonilla. That's right. So what do we think about this, Charles? I got to start with you on this one.
I mean, it's
if you're a betting man.
Yeah. Well, I think that, however you feel about them being able to defer contracts is a whole nother topic. I personally have never liked the ability to just defer money until they're not even on your team anymore. But again, it's within the rules, so they're not doing anything wrong in that sense. But they're also you're essentially paying for two players in one with him. I know that he's not going to be able to pitch this year because of his injury, but you're getting a high quality starting pitcher and one of the best power bats in baseball. So, for him, it's like name your own price.
Am I incorrect? Here's my theory on him. I think he's the best baseball player in the history of the game. He's a stud pitcher and a stud batter. Like you said, it's 2-for-1 deal at pick and save. And this guy he could have said $800 million. I just don't. I'm shocked the Yankees didn't get him because they have unlimited pockets. But sub argument is he the best baseball player in the history of the game? Bill Geiser, go ahead. Go ahead, Bill.
So I really don't play or follow baseball that closely. I know the guy's good. I couldn't discuss or debate, whether he's the best ever or the second best ever. But I am fascinated by this deal from a business standpoint. It sounds like a big number, but as the saying goes, it's not the number, it's the terms. And he is out of the $700 million, he is deferring $680 million for 10 years interest-free. He doesn't earn 1 penny of interest on that money that's deferred for 10 years. So if you take a look at this, like from putting your CPA accountant hat on, from a net present value, it's a much smaller contract than $700 million. And I think it was genius on his part and also the Dodgers to do this. I think it was very, very creative, and it'll be interesting to see what the long-term fallout is.
Sub 68, you might have to come on as much as I don't really want to see you right now, but I know you do the financial stuff. If he, after year 10, if he's not living in California, even though the Dodgers are, does he still have to pay the California tax? Because I saw it's $70 million a year, but after taxes and all that, I think it's only works out to $39 million.
He will not pay California income tax if once he gets paid that $68 million, if he's not a resident in the state of California.
So he'd be an idiot to be a resident.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Good
Yeah,
talk, Sub 68.
particularly when it's
You would've brought it home.
14.4%.
Go ahead, Jim.
It was interesting. I talked to somebody or listened to somebody, and one of their arguments for it almost being a deal would be if you took the highest position player and what their contract is, whether it's Mike Trout or whoever, and then the highest best starting pitcher and their salary, it's over $700 million, whatever it is. So I kind of see. I think the guy wants to win a ring. So I don't think he's got more money than he needs. I'm sure you talk about generational wealth. I mean, that's like.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. We got a question from Charles Wallace. Question: if he can't pitch, was it worth it? AC, you want to answer that?
Sure. It's just an investment, man. I mean, it's a power move. We know he can't pitch. We don't know if the UCL surgery's been successful until he gets back in there and starts throwing heat. So we don't know. It was a very risky investment, but you're letting the fan base know you're trying to put the best product on the field. To going back to saying he's the best player of all time, we've played with players as we played Pee Wee, Little League, and we were discouraged from being a pitcher and a power hitter. At one point in your life, at 15 and 16-year-old, you were told by a coach you can't do both. And that's why we don't see the stud pitcher and stud hitter in America. Shohei Ohtani was encouraged to do so. So is he the best of all time? It's too soon. Watch a few youngsters come up and be able to do the same things. He's great, no doubt. I'm glad he's a Dodger. Go blue. But is he the best of all time? It's kind of a slap in the face to Don Mattingly and Tony Gwynn and all the greats. It's too soon to give him that tap.
I agree with you a little bit on that, but the fact that he was a top 5 pitcher last year and a top 5 hitter, that's ridiculous. I mean,
But then you grew up with a guy like that? I grew up with guys like that. I grew up with guys like that.
But you did with 1989 or 92. But then eventually that guy, the fact that he's got so much talent that he could work on each thing half as much. I mean, you can't put 24 hours into pitching and 24 hours into hitting. Go ahead, Charles and Bill Geyser. Go ahead, AC.
I was just going to say, we don't know that because guys were discouraged and not allowed to do the things that Ohtani was able to do. So we don't know.
Go ahead, Charles.
I think that in terms of baseball, like I played baseball with guys who pitched and could hit some, bombs in Pee Wee and some bombs in high school, but they were never anywhere close to Shohei Ohtani. And I understand you may be discouraged from doing that, but I also think that ultimately the cream rises to the top. So I think that he's the first player that we've ever seen. I think he's the first in the next generation of athletes coming up in baseball where this is going to be more common now. You see in basketball, you're seeing guys like Victor Wembanyama is coming in now. He's well over 7 feet tall. He can handle the ball. He can shoot the ball. It's just the next evolution of the sport, I think.
Does that make him better, though? Is he better than Mike Trout? You know what I'm saying? On the same team.
I personally think he is.
Yeah.
Right now he is. I don't think you can't sustain this for
That's why you tore his elbow up.
Time. And I
Yeah,
don't,
but it almost, you're like Chalice is saying, you're going to have these guys that are doing multiple positions. We almost thought, remember, like in college, AC, we thought it was going to be, the next thing was going to be the Bo Jackson effect. Then you had only people that really did it was Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders, and they just couldn't do it. I mean, those are Bo Jackson's got to be one of the top 5 athletes of all time. My God.
Oh yeah.
Janet,
Me?
are you just not agreeing? Yeah.
Oh.
And then I got Bill Geiser.
No, I got nothing.
Okay, Bill Geiser.
Hey, I think this is genius on the part of the Dodgers and him. The Dodgers are getting a massive shot of marketing Viagra with this guy. I mean, this guy is going to sell seasons tickets. He's going to sell apparel, food. He is putting the Dodgers on the map. They are going to rake in hundreds of millions of dollars, and his endorsement potential is off the chart when he's paired with a big brand like the Dodgers in the city of LA. This is a win-win deal. It's genius.
Is this the next?
By the way, go ahead.
I was going to just say, is this the next marketing ploy like they did with Yao Ming, where how much money did he bring to Asia brought to the NBA?
Yeah.
reminds me a little bit of
Could be.
Fernando.
I mean, I think the guy is a massive draw, and it's going to lift that organization in a very significant way financially, and I also think from a win-loss standpoint.
Jim, you got 30 seconds before Sub 60 yells at me.
Bill, I agree with you. This organization was not hurting before this happened. I mean, they were up there in the top echelon anyway. So this just puts them over the top, in my opinion. But I think it's very rare what he's doing. I disagree with Chalice. I do not think this will be a trend. This is a very rare talent that only comes along once in a blue moon. That's my opinion.
Yeah, Chalice Wallace.
I read he's already making like $50 million a year on endorsements already. And
Oh yeah.
And I did read, I will say this, even though I had really nothing to say. The Blue Jays were close to getting him, but they didn't. Which would have been good for the Blue Jays because
Does he bring a championship is what I'm worried about.
Well, let's as we go to commercial right now, I want everyone to have thoughts and prayers to how much money AC is going to have to pay for tickets next year. Sub 60, take us to commercial.
You have been watching Decades, a show on the NGBN.TV network.
This is NGBN TV, a network for men and home to top experts, speakers, authors, and more. Streaming TV for men, created by men.
But why?
Why are we a network that inspires,
Educates, entertains, celebrates, and supports
Men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, simply to save men's lives.
There is an epidemic in our community.
and it's taking men from us?
I'm talking about mental health and suicide.
But we have an answer, and it's streaming, live shows, sports, concerts, and more.
In a real way for men to lock shields.
We can't wait to launch this TV network for you and with you.
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 Join our movement at ngbn.tv, coming January 2024.
Welcome back to Decades. Take it away, Rubio.
I'm locking shields with Ed right now.
That's why I'm out here. Go ahead. Just
I see my helmet got tighter or my head got bigger. I'm not sure which one. That was not a comfortable feel right there.
Yeah, I still pissed. I mean, you're on the steroids like Barry Bonds.
Yeah, my head got bigger. All right. October 7th, Palestine basically went after Israel. I think it was 1,600 people were killed. Since that moment, there has been anti-Semitic remarks all over. And it seems that the American institutions, the colleges, the education suppliers, I will say, have been just letting it go. It's almost bizarre to look at and to watch. Recently this week, we had the presidents of Harvard, MIT, and Penn. They were asked point blank, is mass genocide of basically Jews okay on your campus? Can you allowed to say that? And they would not answer. They just would say, well, we're not sure about that. It depends on the content. Well, the content is they're literally saying they're going to kill them. And it's not just like a one-off. It's a mass genocide. Bill Geiser, what's happening? What am I missing here?
Well, first of all, I think it was disgusting what they did. I'll address more of that in a second. I think from a tactical standpoint, what you saw was the result of these big institutions being controlled by lawyers and the legal profession. I think these three people were completely programmed by legal counsel. I know two of the universities, Penn and Harvard, used the same one, a legal firm called Wilmer Hale. Go check them out. You talk about a blue blood elite law firm. These people, they have no soul. All they thought about was legal risk, legal risk, legal risk, legal risk. Not 1 second did it appear that anyone said, hey, how do you think you're going to come across? You know, where's the actual genuine human concern for safety of these students? That didn't come across at all. They came across as shallow, disingenuous, heartless bastards. I hope they all lose their job. I hope those institutions, which have really become a bastion of ideology, those Ivy League schools are no longer about pursuing knowledge, science, or the pursuit of truth or fairness.
Well,
it's about money.
100%.
And it's bullshit. And man, it's sick. It was sick. I'm pissed off about it. It was just beyond. I couldn't believe it.
The Penn president has resigned. The Harvard president, I guess they had almost 500 faculty members say, get her out. And they're going to keep her. 700, and they're going to keep her, even though I think she's lost well over $100 million in donations. The big donors have just said, yeah, we're out. You get rid of her or we're not done. But for some reason, and it goes back to what I'm hearing now, is she a diversity hire? Black, female doing this. What about this? You can't fire her. Okay. Or can you? You know, what's the issue?
Ideology, not about doing
Jenna, you seem pretty adamant about this.
They were just acting as puppets. I mean, they didn't say what they really wanted to say, I think, in all honesty. Because it was either, do I say it and get fired, or, you know, in front of national television, or do I say, look, you know, be a decent human being and say the right thing and just walk off the job? I wouldn't have done it. But
well, at some point, you got to look at yourself and just think, I'm disgusted with myself. Gru?
Yeah.
Well, I think even if those three, I mean, one of them resigned, even the other two get fired, they're probably going to replace him with similar people. You know, it would be like, okay, just shuffling the deck of the cards. You know, there won't be somebody who is totally opposite to what they said or what they thought about the situation. Okay, unfortunately.
That's a great take. And there, Sub 60 Ed, before we get to Jim, can you play this? So someone made an AI and just reversed some words, and I want you to see how different it would sound right now, and then what would be the answer from those three presidents. Go ahead, Sub 60.
Ms. McGill, at Penn, does calling for the genocide of Black and brown people violate Penn's rules or code of conduct? Yes or no?
If the speech turns into conduct, it can be harassment. Yes.
I am asking specifically calling for the genocide of LGBTQ people. Does that constitute bullying or harassment?
It is a context-dependent decision, Congresswoman.
It's a context-dependent decision. That's your testimony today. Calling for the genocide of Muslim people is depending upon the context. That is not bullying or harassment. This is the easiest question to answer. Yes, Ms. McGill.
So if you just switch the words from Jews to LGBTQ or blacks or Mexicans or Asians, how is it different? And the smugness in her answers were just so bad. It's just a bad look. Jim, you had your finger up.
No, I don't know if it was Bill or who made the point about being puppets, but I mean, it almost sounded like all three responses were scripted, which they probably were. They were almost word for word exactly the same. And I think they probably would have said the same thing no matter what group was inserted in there. That's just how I feel, that, you know, that it wasn't even the middle of the road, though. They weren't trying to incriminate themselves in any way. They were trying to play safe, but there was no emotion involved. I found it very interesting that the woman answering the questions or asking the questions was getting really emotional and upset with, you know, how kind of smug they were being through all that.
Well, she's lobbing them pitches, and it's like they can't swing and hit it. And I don't know if you guys watched SNL this week in Saturday Night Live. They did that exact same skit, but they made Stefancic, the lady asking the questions, as the bad guy. It's very weird how they made her the bad guy. Chalice, you've been kind of subdued through this whole thought. What is your thought on this?
I don't think it should be hard to just say genocide's bad. I just said it, you know. I could have said that. There we go.
Yeah.
Careful.
Yeah, I gotta watch.
I think you're like me, where it's just so baffling. Like, what's happening here?
I can't believe that. Sorry, I can't believe that it's just that hard. It's just real simple to say.
I know, and especially when the Congresswoman said, "I'm going to ask you one more time on national television."
Yeah.
And they still said the same thing. I'm like, what the fuck?
Go ahead, Jim.
I think they also
Jim and then AC.
Okay.
I think they also would have to admit that, you know, their institution isn't perfect, and there's issues and there's problems, and they would have to address them and deal with them, and maybe they don't want to.
Well, and Harvard's had a real tough time because they've showed Asian discrimination a ton over the past 10 years, where an Asian kid and a white kid or a black kid or an Indian kid, they both have the same grades. Asian kids not getting in. I mean, and it's because they're trying to push down the Asian numbers, and that's just that simple fact on Harvard's campus right now. AC?
It's just a sad state of affairs when you can't tell the truth and you can't tell what you feel. You can't say things that will get you fired. If you don't listen to what they tell you to say, you're going to get fired. So a lot what Jenna said, they were forced to say what they were saying. That's not how they felt. And it was losing your job regardless. Now, is this a point in your career where you're going to stand up for what is right, be on the right side of history, or you go with the status quo and hopefully keep your job, your six-figure income or whatever you're making as a president of a major Ivy League school? I imagine any president of any institution would say the same thing: to save my job. People do it every day, and it's sad that you can't tell the truth. And
I almost got fired because I didn't wear a mask when it was COVID. I mean, I didn't.
But AC, on that note, what if they've been plugged into the hive mind for so long that they actually do believe that? Like, they've been told certain things over. I mean, you still have people walking around the streets right now with masks on, and it's been proven 1,000 times that it doesn't work. And you still people like walking outside in LA or, you know, or in Florida. And you're like, dude, this has literally been proven. Like, this is not even a question anymore. So are they just broken? Maybe.
I think you get to a point where you don't know what to think, and you are inundated with so many. Yeah, you're brought to a higher institution of learning and thinking and problem solving. However, at the end of the day, you want to keep your job, so you go with what they tell you to say. When the attorneys come in there and say, "Hey, this is what you say if you want to remain in this position," I've been there. This is what you say. Don't say anything else. If you say anything else, we're washing our hands of it, and you're not going to be associated with this institution ever again. So that's that ultimatum you're given. You're going to keep the job or not.
Go ahead, Group.
Okay, all three of them basically telling the same story. Kind of reminds me, I think back in 2007, 2008, during the economic crisis, when Ford, Chrysler, and GM were asking for bailouts from the government, and to a first meeting in front of Congress, they all flew private jets. Okay, and then they kind of got laughed out of Congress, and then second time around, they all were driving like those kind of like, you know, Chryslers and Fords and you know, GM vehicles, you know, kind of being, you know, kind of changing their minds because of, you know, what they did and what their reaction was.
Okay. As we wrap up the show, AC, where can people find you tonight and what time?
We'll be right here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, the X, which used to be Twitter, on the NGBNTVnetwork.com. Come hang out with your boy for a little bit. If I don't get knocked out at my boxing, match tonight, I'll be on tonight at 9.
At 9 p.m. Pacific time. Chalice, from Gridirons to Goalposts, give me 2 surefire picks this weekend.
Oh, surefire. Oh man, see, I don't like making.
No. If you're gonna go out on the ledge.
Oh man, who do I like this weekend? I like Atlanta -3 against Carolina, over 48.5. Washington versus the Rams.
Hold on. What does Atlanta -3 means? That means Atlanta's gonna win by 3?
They're gonna win by 4 or more. If they win by 3, then you get your money back. If they win by 2 or 1 or lose the game, then you gotta take out a loan to pay back Big Paulie.
Did you pick those games last night, Chalice?
I last night I had Raheem Mostert to get a touchdown.
He didn't score, did he?
He scored twice.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah.
Is he going to score next week? I have my fantasy team.
I have him on my fantasy team too. I hope so.
All right, Sub 60 Ed, who do we have as the winner?
You know what? I'm giving it to Bill Geiser this week for 2 reasons.
His outfit.
One, it's got to be the Christmas spirit outfit, and secondly, he used the term net present value in this conversation, which I remember back from my old finance days. So I appreciated it. So panelist of the show, Bill Geiser.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
I thought you were going to give it to him.
I'll drink to that, Ed.
I thought he was going to get it because he said, what did you say, Viagra of the economy or something?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
No, that's good.
Marketing Viagra.
Marketing Viagra. That's what I thought.
That's also.
All right, everyone. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to Decades on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. If you have any questions, you can email rubio@therubiomethod.com or ngbntved@gmail.com. Thank you for everyone that chimed in and watched, and make sure you spread the word. And if you need to talk to someone, contact one of us, contact a friend, anyone just make sure you contact someone. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for watching Decades on the NGBN.TV network. Be sure to spread the word, and don't forget to subscribe, like, or follow on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook.